This podcast is brought to you by Steede Motor Group, Claregalway. For your personalised vehicle shopping experience, find out more at steedemotorgroup.ie.
So it's a big weekend this weekend in the Galway Senior and Intermediate Hurling Club Championships. After this weekend, we're going to get to the knockout stages of the Hurling Championship, the business end really. So it's do or die for a lot of clubs, and some clubs will be looking to scrape their way into preliminary quarterfinals, and some clubs will be looking to go straight into the quarterfinal route. Start from your own perspective, just being involved with Tommy Larkins. It's obviously been your first two games, they've been difficult games.
Yeah, we've been well beaten by, the first game, Claregalway, second game, Moray, two good teams. We're down a lot of players, and, the quality lads we're missing is a big... We need everyone to have a shot at them, but they deserve to win. Claregalway played very well and proved in the second game. I was at the Moray at Clarenbridge first game, and just touch and go. Now Clarenbridge have a lot of stuff, but Moray were quite unlucky, and they come out. We knew that they're good, and they played us and won it well. But Sunday now is against Clarenbridge, and Clarenbridge already have 2 points. They need to win or draw to go through, and even to keep our slim hopes alive, we have to definitely win anyway. We're doing our best to win, even though we're still down a few players, and we believe that Oisin Stan and these guys are back for Clarenbridge, would be a big plus to them.
Is that just the thing when you're thinking there? Obviously, being without Jason Flynn from us, we're probably still going to be without him. Ronan Murphy came back to last day, but is that the struggle for rural clubs at the minute?
Yeah, the number thing. You'd have a few numbers, but they wouldn't be the quality. Without, say, Jason Flynn and Ronan Murphy too, as in the kind of county panel, and Colin Flynn as well was missing. He was kind of touring for the summer, himself and the girlfriend, and they would be kind of three leaders. But what seems to be happening, Paul, is when we get one lad back, someone else gets injured. You know what I mean? It's just one of these years, okay, we know Clarenbridge inside out to beat us the last few years, and we hope to give them a good rattle, but we'll be doing well to kind of rattle them as much as we can, but we hope to take the game to them.
Is it really just about a performance you're looking for this weekend?
Well, we hope to have a performance, yeah, and we had a challenge game last week against Camross, played quite well, and but that's a different take to the championship. But we're we have improved at the games, and we'll be at our strongest on Sunday. Against Clarenbridge. But after saying that, we'd want to be this. They have a lot of players. Even Paul, when they're missing a few, they don't. They have the quality coming on, which is it shows the work that's been done. It shows first of all they have the numbers, and secondly the work that's been done in the club.
Just before we move on to preview the games, isn't that the one thing though, sir, that you just need luck along this club championship, and it's probably something you haven't got this year?
Yeah, well, so far this year we haven't. Jason would be a top hurler club or county, a brilliant player and a great leader. But Ronan Murphy is kind of trying to get onto the senior team and has got injured, very unlucky. And Colin Flynn would be one of our kind of top club in all the years. Again, that's just the look of the draw. There's nothing you can do about it, and we picked up another injury here. But look, that's part of the thing, and you'll be hoping other lads will stand up and be counted. But definitely the bigger clubs that are doing the work would have a big advantage. The more than More, Turlock, more, any of these, they have a lot of numbers, and that's the big thing. Anyone around the town or the city has a lot of numbers, whereas out the country, you haven't got them. But you can't let that put you down. You just have to do the work and get fellas through.
Kevin Brady as well, joined also on the podcast this week. Kevin, a lot of excitement with kind of everything that's up for stake now this weekend in the championship.
Yeah, a big weekend. There's a lot of teams on 2 points. They need to draw or win, but I don't know any team just wanting to go out and draw. Like Cyril there saying about his own team in Larkins, improving as the year goes on. We played them down through the years with Cashel, and we never like to see them at the back end of the year because they're a dogged outfit. But he said it there himself, without the likes of Murphy and Jason Flynn, they'd be a loss to Thomas's, or even Loughrea or Turlock, never mind Larkins, a small East Galway club, but huge weekend, really looking forward to it. A couple of ding-dong games, and after this weekend it'll tell a lot.
Kevin, I have to bring it up after Cashel's victory last time out. There's a few texts coming in after your comments. What did you think then when the bet started?
I was delighted. I don't know why people were getting up in their high horses that I said Cashel were mentally soft and weak, because I was in there and like people might want to say it, but don't say it. I've said it and it's how I felt. Like they still went out the day after and got beaten by Arddrahan. But like hopefully by me saying a few things like that might have woke them up, because I know if a former player had said things like that and I was still involved, there'll be a few F's and blinds in the dressing room about him, and we'll go out and we'll do this for him. And I hope that worked, but Cashel are always the kind of team that'll, you know, they should have beaten Sarsfields now, even during COVID. I was doing the comment today with Niall Canavan and Sean Walsh, and Sarsfields got 2 late goals. They always felt they had one over on them. Same thing nearly happened the last day. I seen the game. Sarsfields got 2 21s, buried one of them. The other one was blocked. I don't know where the 21s, but big game now for themselves in Crowell. Probably the game of the weekend that weekend was Arddrahan and Crowell, and Crowell came out with a draw, so they'll need to win as well. Sort of a humdinger of a game, that one out.
Paul,
Yeah, obviously.
I would think, Paul, that the matches mightn't be on with the Crawford involved, because a great stalwart of the Crawford club, GA in particular, is Frank Healy, has passed away, and I have a feeling that the match might be off. And I suppose on behalf of all Gael goers, you'd want to wish his wife, Bridge and Fiona, Fergal and Niall Noel from the hurling field, want to wish them, condolences really. But I would expect the Crawford Castlegar match to be off, and that would probably put off the other matches as well between Arddrahan and Sarsfields. I think that would play at the same time. I'm just off the top of my head, but I think that's what's to happen, because Frank Healy was synonymous with Crawford and with hurling.
Yeah, Frank Healy obviously there sadly passed away, and our condolences from everyone on the podcast to everyone in Crowell, particularly to Fergal and Niall, 2 stalwarts as well of Go Hurling. But going by the Crowell statement, it said that Crowell's hurling activity is going to be paused for the next few days. So it probably is likely. There has been no confirmation yet, though, of what exactly is going to happen there. But our condolences to everyone. If we're just to get into that, I suppose Group 1 in the Senior Championship. So on Sunday, you have 2 games at 4 o'clock. Ormore Mary playing Clonmerdaley in Gort at 4, and then Tommy Deckles at Downbridge in Dublin Park at 4. From coming up against both Ormore Mary and Clonmerdaley, sir, who's impressed you more?
Well, you see, Clonmerdaley against us, it's kind of 50-50 game, and you'd have to say, they played very, very well. Concannon was very good. His brother was very good. Burke was very good, brilliant from the frees. And any chance they got, they took it, played very well. And everyone's saying, maybe they were lucky, but they weren't a bit lucky. They deserved to win, and went on and proved it against Clarenbridge. Now, to me, the most improved team, we'll call them the new team, are Ormore Murray. I saw them the first day against Clarenbridge, and I watched their under-20 match against Loughrea. Very impressed with the 2 young bucks, Patrick and Rory. But also you have Niall Burke, and you have McInerney. They're good all around the pitch, and they're very, very strong, very athletic. I have a feeling that they might just get through. It'll be a ding-dong match, but or more need to win to make sure, or even a draw, I suppose, really do them. But it's, as Kevin said there, it's as easy win as draw. It's hard to say I'm going to draw a match. You're out to win anyway. They need to win, whereas Clonmerdaley are already through. I suppose on that alone, that they needed more than Clonmerdaley, I just have a feeling that Ormore might edge it.
When you're thinking of the game as well, it's a huge opportunity here, Kevin, for Clonmerdaley to go straight into a quarterfinal.
Yeah, and I suppose they're probably the team of the year at the moment of the club championship. Really like their style of hurling. They're 2 different teams now, isn't the way they hurl. They move the ball very fast. They have a super free taker, as do Ormore. But as Cyril alluded to, I just fancied Ormore. Even they could have beaten Clarenbridge. That was a real banana skin for Clarenbridge. And that's no disrespect to Ormore, but I just think Ormore are really coming. I know Dave Morris was doing a lot of work with them there a couple of years ago in tackling and defending. They're a totally different hurling style. They're very physical. They play a lot of ball down the middle, and there are a lot of runners off the shoulder. It'll be a good game of hurling now. A real cracker.
Is it the balance for Ormore? Cyril touches there, and he's on about Rory and Patrick Burke coming through, and then even you see Ross Below now is back. You have Niall Burke, Gareth Mack. Like, there seems to be a real balance there at the minute, Kevin.
Yeah, well, Niall Burke, like, is Niall Burke fit?
He is fit, yeah. Like, there was rumours that he wouldn't play against us. I saw him coming off against Bridge kind of with Hampson, but he played very well the last time. He's a leader, like, and he's very strong. Kevin, as you know, under the puck out. These guys are good under the puck out. They don't mind the high ball coming down top of them, and they're strong and they can play both ways. Like, they're good off the shoulder, but they're also very good, like, at say scoring from outside. And I'm being very impressed with Patrick Burke and Rory Burke, the two young lads. Now I know the other lads are good, but these guys, to me, they're future Galway hurlers, and I don't mean future in the long term. I mean kind of fairly soon now, like, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, Rory Burke definitely seems to be someone who's already lit the championship up. Are you both thinking Ormore are going to have just get on?
I think it'll be tight, but I just have the feeling like they need to win. Like Claregalway would like to win and top it. They might even top the group anyway with the 4 points. They're in a happy position that if they have injuries, they need to play like they can rest a fella. They know they're already through. Now they'd still like to keep the win sequence going. Who wouldn't? I just have the feeling that there's more pressure on Ormore, and I think that they need the win more than Claregalway do at this stage.
Just on that as well, so obviously you're going to have first going straight through to a quarter, and then you have second and third going through to prelim quarterfinals. The impossible really has to happen this weekend, sir, really, for yourselves to get through to the knockout stages.
Yeah, we're looking for a big team. But what we're looking for is performance and try to beat Claregalway. Anything other than that, like, it's out of our hands anyway. But what we'd like to do is try to beat the Bridge. Now, it'll be very hard. They have a lot of very good underage lads coming through that. They've all played it for Galway at some stage or other. And you still have the regulars, like, you have TJ Brennan there, there's Oisin Salmon is back, you have Nyland up front, like, you have Lee, you have young Lee and Lee. These guys are all good hurlers, like, and Philip McGann last year, kind of a new guy, had a very good season. They're good all over the pitch, like Shane Ryan is good, kind of county material, Sean Kilduff, they are good. But our lads kind of know them well. We've been playing the last few years, and so far anyway, Claregalway have come out on top, like, but we'll be hoping maybe to cause a surprise on Sunday. We won't go down without a fight, like, and again, we're kind of getting a little bit better, and we're hoping that on Sunday we can maybe have a real good one.
Yeah, with that, Kevin, there's a bit of excitement here. Like, Larkins are fighting for their lives at the weekend, and Clarebridge, you're expecting a reaction after, I suppose, probably being robbed. They'll feel at the end against Claregalway.
Yeah, well, a wounded animal is a dangerous one, The only thing about it is it's promised a nice weekend, not promised much rain. It'll suit the Bridge, to be honest with you. I'd expect the Bridge to be winning it, but I do think Larkins will give them enough. If they turn it into a free fest, it's going to play into Nyland's hand all day. I do think that Clarebridge are vulnerable at the back, but without Jason Flynn, it's an uphill battle. Like, to lose a county player of his calibre, Murphy, it's huge. But they'll be wound up, they have the right man in the dressing room with them, and they'll die with their boots on. But I'd be expecting the Bridge to win
it. Is this now for the Bridge to put out a bit of a statement here, Kevin? Because there probably is a few question marks about them coming into this weekend.
Yeah, I think so. But the Bridge, like, not to put too fine of a point on it, the Bridge would be wishy-washy as well over the last few years. Nice hurlers have been known to be nice hurlers, but I seen a streak in them last year I liked. They started to use the ash a bit more, and I don't mean it in a nasty way, but they started to throw their bodies around a bit. They seem this year they've brought in more in there with 40 from Limerick, and a bit of expectation about it. Didn't really work. Changed a bit of the style of their hurling. They got beaten the last day, could have been beaten the first day. They'll be all out now the next day to really impress. But if they win, they're through. No one will fear them, put it like that, and they're dangerous then again. But we'll see how they go the weekend. But a huge game for them now, as well, as you said, to put down a statement.
Where do you see them, Cyril, in the landscape of contenders?
Well, at the moment, the games I've seen, you'd have to say Thomas and Lochray are ahead of the posse. And then you have to say you have the Clarebridges, the Turlock Moors, the Sarsfields, they're all kind of coming, there's 4 or 5 teams there, and I put Ormore there as well now, Claregalway. They're all kind of around, underneath that again. That's where I look at. But But after saying that, there's been no knockout game yet. You see, Paul, the knockout games are different. Like as Kevin will tell you, like you can kind of play nice stuff and you can be lucky or unlucky, say, in the kind of a league situation. When it comes to a knockout game where people know that it's their last game, their last chance, that puts a different pressure on them, but it also makes lads do things that they might think they're capable of doing, and they are, like when it comes down to it. So, like, this is the first kind of more or less knockout game of the championship so far, and then after this it gets real serious again. Whoever is in, whoever is gone, they're in relegation, which is serious enough in its own way as well. But I'd expect the matches the weekend to be, the weather's promised fairly good, I'd say, to be hot and heavy, and like, you know, the tempo will be up, there's no doubt about that.
For sure, and like Dr. Just mentioned there, you have Claregalway on top of 4, then you have Clanbridge on 2, and then Ormore just behind them in 3rd on 2, and Tommy Darkins on 0. So that's the action in Group 1. In Group 2, it's fairly simple this weekend, lads. Whoever wins between Thomas's or Turlock, or if it's a draw. If it's a draw, Thomas's will go straight through to quarter, and then if Turlock were to beat Thomas's, they'll go through to the quarter, Turlock more, and then if Thomas's win, they'll go through. And then Gorta Portumna, whoever wins goes into prelim, whoever loses goes into relegation. And if it's a draw, it'll be enough for Gort. Kevin, with your own cousin involved, obviously manager at the minute, over Turlock Moore, the game of the weekend really in people's eyes. Saturday evening at 5:45, St. Thomas's and Turlock Moore.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll be at it. I was listening to Cyril and Niall Canavan on the last day with Gort and Turlock, and I was watching bits of it on the phone, and you know, thank God I wasn't at it. It was an absolute downpour, and I heard Cyril saying at one stage, he said both teams deserve a point apiece coming out of this just to tog out because it was so bad, you know. And credit goes to both teams, you know. Turlock 4 points up, time up, and to throw it away. But you couldn't even say throw it away, you know. The conditions were so bad. Turlock will be all out. They'll be all out to win this one. This will really see where Turlock are at.
They looked really pissed. They looked really pissed off the last day.
They did, and I seen Lennon after he had a go at Davy Hooban. You know, Davy, the manager of Gort, good friend of mine, good lad, wouldn't back down from a challenge, and whatever was said, anyhow, Lennon didn't like it, and you know, Davy said something to him, but that's all part and parcel of championship hurling. Tommy's on the other side. Look at the hammering they gave Portumna. Like, talk about a statement. Like, there's no love lost there between them. There's the old who's the best club team in Galway over the last 20 years. You know, Thomas's like to think they are, Portumna think they are. So to leave a statement like that, I know Davy Burke is doing a lot of great work with Kenneth up there as well, and it's going to be some game of hurling. I'm really looking forward to this one now. Like, you really have potential county champions in this game, along, as Cyril said, along with you know, Loughrea and the Bridge and a few more.
Will this tell us a lot at the weekend, sir?
Well, not really, like, because both to me will get through. They're through anyway. Like, Thomas will be feeling a little bit peeved after last year. Remember a match down at Ryan and Turlock had a big win over them. Like, Thomas has been going very well this year. The lads are back. Keane Mahoney is back. Sherry is back. Shane Cooney is back. They're all getting kind of game time, and I'm told David Burke, while he's not back yet, he's back. Like, knowing that fella, he'd be back by the end of the campaign. Thomas's are kind of, they're still the benchmark. Like, they're going, what's it, for 6 in a row. It's unbelievable. Now, Turlock Moore have a lot of stuff. There's no doubt about it. Sean Loftus is a loss, but like, they have a lot of other lads that are very good. And you're like, Kevin is right. The last day, Turlock will feel, even if it was a draw, they'll feel to throw away a point, where Gort will feel that they won a point. You know what I mean? It's a different ballgame. But this promises to be, these are two of the big hitters. Thomas's are the champions. Turlock Moore are the pretenders to the crowd. Like, they're one of the 4 or 5 top teams in the county. Have been for the last few years. Have had great underage success, and it's bubbling. It's bubbling underneath. It's great to see Welsh Connor, you know, the young Welsh lad back again. He's getting, I suppose he's nearly old now. When I say young, though, I'm thinking of his mind, but like, they're more mature as it goes on, and they will improve as it goes on. But like, you know, for Sunday, I have a feeling that Thomas will come out on top. Now, that, look, to me, it doesn't really matter, because like last year, Turlock gave them a good clipping inside and after Ryan. Yes, we come around to the championship proper knockouts. Thomas has won it.
with that, even the matchups alone, like you're looking at one straight away that's probably guaranteed to be one, Kevin, between Conor Cooney and Donny Burke.
Oh yeah, but so listen, these lads be marking each other in the county training. They know each other inside out. It's not Conor Cooney's going to win the game, it could be the likes of Sherry or these guys, or it could be Tom Quirk, not Lenane. So like there's county lads on both sides, and sometimes you look for your county lads at this level, and it isn't them that win it for you. Both teams are littered, as I like what Cyril said there. It's bubbling underneath. I agree with that. It is. I see something different in Turlough this year, as in their mentality. I really do. There's a bit of a fight about them. I think we'll see an awful lot more where they are mentally, after Sunday evening or Saturday evening, regardless whether they win or lose, because I do believe they'll come out of the group. But just to see what kind of a performance to put up with, because I know they'll be fighting to the end.
How do you see it unfolding, Kevin?
I think Thomas will win it. I think Thomas will win it by 4 or 5 points, to be honest with you. Especially, I didn't think Tommy's had come out of the blocks so early in the year. I always felt that they were vulnerable at the start of the year. How wrong I was. Like what they done the last day was phenomenal, really. Which I know Portumna are not the team they were, but to go out in a championship match and win by the margin that they did. Now Turlough will be hurting, but I just think Thomas's are just different gravy at the moment,
And why are they different gravy for you, Kevin?
Just all the lads they have back now. Sherry is back and a few more guys. Conor Cooney seems to be going very well again. Like they're so strong in every position. Like you could make a Galway team out of about 12 of them guys, and they wouldn't look out of place. And that is the truth of it. They know how to win. They really know how to win, and that's the biggest thing in Turlough now that is going to catch them this year. Now, what happens when, if they're level and they're going down the home straight with 4 or 5 minutes to go, a loose hand, something silly, Conor Cooney pops it over, and this is where winners come in. Now, you're just going to have to sit back and see what Turlough do. It's going to be a cracker of a game. You could talk about it all day long, but I can't see anybody at the moment outside of Loughrea beating Tommy's.
How do you set up against Thomas's, Serge?
Well, they're used to playing against sweepers, and you talk about the likes of Conor Cooney there, Kevin referred to it. Like, Conor Cooney's been the best probably club hurler in golf for the last many years. Every day he goes out in the Thomas jersey, he plays absolutely fantastic. But he has good lads around, like Darragh Burke is up in the forwards, Aine Burke playing very well, young Manzo's coming now, Midlane going well, Oisin Flannery. These are all good hurlers, and even with David Burke missing, you go to midfield, you have some of the days they have Sherry out there now back from injury. These guys like Fintan Burke full back, Shane Cooney centre back, like all these are county material fellas, like as Kevin referred to there, and you have to go at them. Like the last day that Turlough beat them well, most more people I met beforehand thought, well, we're going to get a drubbing here, but they just went out and hurled free. And they didn't set up defensively, like they played, because I think that kind of suits top teams, like they're willing to work through the lines. I think you have to go at them from the very start. But, even last year, I thought in the replay last year that Loughrea would win when I knew that Shane Cooney wasn't playing and James Regan. But, again, they went out to 2 of them and they won. And now they're back again with the 2 of them. Okay, David is missing. I still have a feeling by the time the county semi-final comes up that I can see David Burke coming off for the last 20 minutes. He's that kind. He's so determined to get back, and he's carrying no weight, and the hurling is in him. That's what's in him. And they're a fantastic club when you think they haven't big numbers. They won't be competing in a competition at underage no more than a small few clubs, but they have the families together, working hard together, and it shows what can be done, even without the big numbers. Now they're lucky that they have so many brothers and involved, but they kept it going on for 5 years. And I still remember what David Burke said to me last year. He said after the county final, I was saying, what do you think of next year? And he was saying, I'm thinking of 7. It seems Peter's well did it way back. And that's in his head. It's an unreal thought to be thinking after winning 5. He wasn't talking about going celebrating or anything. These are the leaders there. But as Kevin said, it's a great chance for Turlough to find out where they are. because they are safe. They've won their first game and they got a point. They're the 3 points. They are safe, so they can throw caution to the wind. Like, and even if they perform well, even getting beat, I think they'll be happy enough, because last year they won by so well. Cricket scored and still did nothing afterwards. It won't affect them once they perform. That's the big thing for them, I think.
Yeah, that's just really all of Thomas's strengths, the way they can adapt to these situations when they're picking up injuries along the way. The other game then in Group 2, we're kind of expecting Thomas's maybe just to have a bit too much know-how there for Turlock, but Turlock could easily cause a surprise as well. But the other game is Portumna versus Gort. Winner goes through to the knockout stages.
Yeah,
Kevin here, or sorry, sir, but just there, Gort's, they could kickstart their season after that result against Turlock, but Portumna have a chance here after being severely beaten to go through as well. Kevin.
Yeah, I just think Gort. I think the fight will have to be in Gort for the next day. The heads would have to be down in Portumna now after the last day. Joe Canning is still there. Like, we're still talking about Joe Canning Club Championship in Galway. What a phenomenal hurler, but what a leader for the club. I just think Gort are a good outfit. Like, Gort are a very, very good team. Like, if Gort get their act together, they'll hold their own with most teams. They really will. Like, they hurled some lovely patches the last day in atrocious conditions against Turlock. The young Paddy Cummins there, and Richie Cummins, and I know Harty retired from them. He's a huge, huge loss, but they're a good club. They're a passionate club, but they have a lot of good stickmen. And I think this weekend will suit them. I think they'll beat Portumna. I think they can. I think they should win this game 4 or 5 points, to be honest, and push on their year. Sometimes when you get a result like they did against Turlock, when you think you're dead and buried, all of a sudden, your year just changes. They're not going to go on and win a county title, but I think they would have looked forward to going back into training on the Tuesday night. Right, lads, we have a point. We have Portumna next. We can get 3 points.
Yeah.
On that, lads, Ben O'Donovan, he's really been one of the bright sparks of the championship for Gort.
Yeah, he's a good young lad. He played minor for Galway, but their half-back line is nice now. You have Donovan one wing back, Gil Sintra and Jack Linan. They're all kind of bred in the purple, and you'd have to be impressed with the full-back line. Don't know who's very, very fast. June Killian is fast, but Owen Cooley back in there, he's kind of joint captain or vice captain, whatever. He's a good and solid. Gavin Lally in goals. They have very young hurlers that are good. They're good, as Kevin said, they're very good sticksmen. Now look, they're young and they're not that physically strong. Portumna, Paul, would have been eyeing this match for a long time. Now they aren't what they were, and there's a trouble lot of lads missing. Like O'Hare is retired. Chunky Hayes is gone. Lynch is gone. Young O'Mara even playing. They're missing a lot, but they will gather for this game. You know what I mean? They will gather for this game. You'll find Jack Kennedy back, probably full back. Like Joe the last day, I know they were well beaten, but when he went in full forward, he caused havoc for a while, like the ball coming in. They will see this game as their whole season. Now, if Gort win, as you say, Gort are through with the 3 points, they'll be delighted. But it's a big one for Portumna too. They'll be out of the relegation if Gort lose. It's that big of a match. It's in Loughbray, which I think. Looking over the record, will suit Portumna. They're hard to beat in Loughbray, but you'd have to imagine with the young lads that Gort have and the way they played the last day, you could see after the match, as Kevin said, that they were thrilled. They felt they had it won. But like Declan McLaughlin is due a big game. 40 is fairly good. Like Portumna won't fear Gort. You see, there'll be a lot of young Portumnas that won't fear them either. Like Gort, as Kevin referred to there, they're a good championship team. Always were. Like, even if things aren't going, when they go out to play the championship, play them in a league match or a challenge game, it's carefree. But when they go out to the championship, they're a different ball game altogether. And you still have Richie Cummins there. Paddy Cummins is taking the freeze now. You see that Pigeon there. Like, these guys they're good hurlers, but I'd expect a real dogfight from Portumna. And I suppose you'd have to say you'd expect that Gort will be slight favourites, but like this could turn out to be the match of the day, and it'd be very little. None of these are going to win a cup this year, as Kevin says. But like this will be up there as the big one for the weekend.
Yeah, like what Sarah touches on there, Kevin. Like, you're thinking Gort, but like this is a free shot for Portumna.
Absolutely, and like the few of them guys there on the panel that have county medals, and even All-Ireland medals, you know, club and county. So proud men. Like Joe Canning is not holding on there for another county title. He's not a stupid man, you know. He's he knows what he's doing there. He's there to bring the new guys through, blood them through, get them through these dog fights, because that's what they are, dog fights. And that's what makes these younger guys. You know, he spoke about the retirements there, the likes of Chunky, Andy Smith gone this year. He's a huge thing. O'Mara not playing. Jack Canning will be back. But in Loughrea, and Cyril hit the nail on the head, it's probably the only thing for me that will suit Portumna. You know, they like it. We played them there a couple of times over the years. We thought in a tight pitch we'd give it to them. How do? You know, they like it up there. They'll have no respect or no fear for Gard. But Gard will have zero for them either, because they know all the big guys that are gone. They'll double mark Joe. You can be sure of that. And they'll let their younger guys hurl away. But as Cyril said, it could be the game of the weekend. This is knockout hurling now for these two teams, you know.
Yeah, it really is. Winner takes all. And there's 2 games in Group 2. Portumna Court, Loughrea 5:45. Thomas's Turlock, Dublin Park 5:45. Just on this, because obviously we're seeing fixtures. There's obviously no fixtures in Kenny Park over the weekend. It's being redeveloped. Is that a disadvantage, do you feel, to some teams now when you're looking at the venues? Because Kenny Park, Kevin, it did feel like it suited certain teams.
I don't think so. Like Kenny Park is the home of hurling. Tuam Stadium is the home of football. You know, not Pure Stadium, if you ask me. Ask any hurler where he wants to play, it's Kenny Park. And the same with football, and it's Tuam Stadium. But listen, like once you're inside the line, it's, you know, it's 4 lines, it's goalposts, and away you go. These guys are semi-professional at this level. Club hurling and football has gone to a different level. Like these guys don't care where they play. They've trained since last January for this. Makes no difference to them. It is a pity, you know. I'd love to see a county title back in Athenry, you know, a county final, and get a huge crowd in. But I think it's going to be a huge thing for Galway hurling going down the line. Kenny Park will be like a carpet again, and drainage and all of that kind of stuff. That's only a minor thing, Shocks. I know what you're saying, you know, the atmosphere and all of that, but don't worry, when the crowds get in somewhere, the atmosphere will make itself.
How do you see it, sir?
Yeah, like I agree with Kevin. Look, everyone, it's a fantastic pitch, and like, you know, Kevin, the more than being involved with Galway more than any of us, like, you know, every inch of grass in it, like, and it's a great arena. It's very easy to get in and get out of, and it's a big loss. But after saying that, like, none of the teams will mind where to play. Like the pitches in Galway have improved a ton. Like, you know, you go around on the pitch. Kilbeckley, for example, small club, fantastic pitch, stand the whole lot. Gart, stand, pitch the whole lot. Kinvara, lovely pitch. Ballandreen was once the only pitch in like South Galway. Ardra, they all the pitches now. Crowell have 2 at the moment. Like, then you swing around anywhere. Like, you know, Ballinasloe is still a great pitch. Loughrea, like it's you know, Mulla have the lights, Clymer have lights. I suppose lights are the big thing, Paul, that we're kind of lacking in Galway, because really the Ballinasloe is big. There's a beautiful pitch in Portumna, has lights, very good lights. But now I know it's out in the but it's lovely. Like, there's nothing wrong with the pitches. No, maybe some of them are a little bit bigger or a bit narrower, but like, they're all the minimum width or length, and they're all, some of them might be the maximum, but like you'll find that none of the players will complain about the pitch. Even the night the Turlock Moor versus Gart match that evening in at the night took all beaten, like with wind and rain, you'd Halipower with Foxen, but yet they played away and the pitch stood up to it very, very well for the conditions it was in, and so did the 2 teams. Like, but no, you'll have no team complaining. It's just kind of unusual this time of the year. You'd imagine it might have been done when Galway were training, because they'd be only looking for 1 pitch rather than
the off season, you would have thought.
Yeah, like they're talking about the growth, but you'll get growth in the springtime as well, going on into the summer. But look, that's the way it is. But there's no one going to complain. You know, you just go out and you play. As the white lines are the same once the ball goes in. That's what it's all about. Get to the ball.
Just then in Group 3, lads. So you have the table. Obviously, Loughrea fairly ahead here when it comes to the table, so they're on 4 points, and their goal difference is quite large. They're on plus 38 at the minute. Captile, they're behind them on 2 points and -8, and then Kilkenarren -2 and on 2 points. Mike Cullen on 0. Kevin, just looking at these 2 games, you have Mike Cullen and Captile getting Kilbeckley on Sunday at 12, and then you have Kilkenarren and Loughrea in New Inn on Sunday at 12. It's fairly straightforward here, you think, at the weekend, where you expect Capitagle and Loughrea probably to have routine victories here.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You answered my question there. Loughrea to win and for Cappy to win. Mike Cullen had a great year last year. They were just very unfortunate that they met the animal of Loughrea in the first round of the championship, and my God, what a thrimming they give them. And if you get a beating like that, Shocks, early on in the year, it demoralises you. A good friend of mine, Hardy, there, John Hartman, has been doing a lot of coaching with them, and one of the best coaches I've ever seen. But you can only do so much with the quality you have. They're doing huge work in Mike Cullen. They're favourites of the football championship as well, like we rated on last week, and I think that can be a distraction too. People don't think it is, but I think it is. But Loughrea, they're right up there with Tommies. I still fancy them for the county title. The Tommies will be licking their lips saying that, and I think Cappy will be second in that group.
Yeah, obviously Kilkenny bet Mike Cullen, and you're still just expecting them to probably just see enough to go through in the third place and that into the prelim, and probably just kind of expect Mike Cullen then to enter the relegation third.
Yeah, well, like I saw Kilkenny play Cappy the first day, and Kilkenny a very young team, but they stuck with Cappy, and when Cappy hit them with 2 goals, sucker kind of punches, they didn't fall away. They kept coming and coming and coming, and you'd have to fence them that day against Mike Cullen. They have won their match, so they're quite happy. Now, Loughrea will know these as inside out from Kilkenny, and vice versa. They'll be socialising in the same town, and there's no doubt about it. Like Loughrea will be hot favourites. Have a lot of stuff. Like Joe Mooney's back, Jimmy Ryan. I don't know if McMahon fully back yet, but you have the Shaughnessy's, and you have Morgan. These guys are good hurlers. That's allowing Johnny Cole and Paul Hogan. They're good hurlers. And you're talking about pitches. I forgot to mention New Win. That's a new pitch really. Like there's one in Bullen, but there's one in New Win. Is second to none. I say it's one of the best pitches in the county and one of the biggest as well. But Kilkenny will be looking for a performance. Now, they mightn't be just overrun as much as people think, but it to be an extreme shock if Kilkenny won. They expect Loughrea to win that. And the same with Cappy. They'll be disappointed where they played against Loughrea. The Loughrea are kind of one of the benchmarks along with Thomas's, but they will feel they never got out of the blocks the way they should at all. And with the 2 Collinses up front and Mannion and these guys, they have great pace, and you have all the Garveys playing, Declan Cronin, they're missing 1 or 2, but they still have a good team. You have James in goals, Cahill in goals, and they probably have the best sub goalie in the county as well in James Egan, what's his name, Mike Egan. I mean, very good goalie, but hard to get on in Cappy because James is there. But you'd expect Cappy to win that. They'll want to win because they have to win. So you'd expect him to get through. As they seem to be the 2 easiest we like to call of the weekend, but sometimes it doesn't go that way. You just don't know. I'd expect Kilkenny, and I know Loughrea should win well, but I expect Kilkenny to put up a good fight for a lot of it. They're not going to try and cloud that easy, and Cappy should be well able to beat Mike Cullen.
Point we're actually alluding on with Cappy, when you're talking there about the Collins and the Manions, it's probably the distribution to them kind of forwards that the ball has to be. It's a certain type of ball you have to give around this time of year, and that's probably Cappy's biggest improvement that they're trying to go after.
Yeah, well, Kevin will tell you, any forward loves a kind of a ball in front of him rather than the ball up say 10 foot in the air. And these guys are good small hurlers, but they're missing a few from last year, like Cappy are good hurlers. But they have their style of hurling. They're always very hard to beat. They've been kind of an unlucky team the last few years. They've been thereabouts without getting through, and people say, their chances gone now. But you go to play them, they're still very, very hard to beat. Niall Collins, he has a brother there, Liam Collins. Liam and Niall, both of them are very good. Jay Manning on his day is very, very good as well, and they have a nice balance to their team, even missing the likes of Caffey and these guys. They're still good hurlers, and they're good enough to win. And if they get into a quarter final, which do we then you see you don't know who's going to come back from America or somewhere like that, and it puts it can put the cat among the pigeons. If they got a ladder 2 back, they'll be very strong again.
Yes, it's their games in Group 3. Then just in Group 4, we're not sure will these games take place over the weekend, but if they don't, you'd expect them to probably take place during the week at some stage. And it's really tight. It's the tightest of the lot here in Group 4. So the way the table stands at the minute, heading into the weekend, is Ardran on 3 points, Castlegar then on 2, Sarsfields on 2, and Cromwell on 1. So it's extremely tight. Um, Down there, like there's nothing between like any of these teams at all, Kevin.
Nothing. It's probably the tightest group in the whole of the championship. Like I see, the Ardrahan and Crowell game the last day was a humdinger, probably the game of the weekend. Cashel and Crowell, that's going to be another cracker. I think Crowell are the kind of team, a lovely stickmen, playing a nice brand of hurling. They won't fear Cashel one bit. But I just think, whatever has gone on in Cashel with the last few weeks, there seems to be a bit of a fire in their belly. I was talking to Farrell during the week, and he doesn't say a lot, and I won't really repeat too much what he said, but he said the fire's in their belly now again. He said it was a big, big win for them.
You've motivated them, Kevin.
Which?
You've motivated them.
I wouldn't like to be in that dressing room what to be saying about me, but sure, listen, it is what it is. I can turn around shocks and say I said it to motivate them. But no, listen, I actually think that they could win the next day. It's a tough time in the Crowell household at the moment, Healy's father and all that, but be a good game of hurling.
Yeah, so as you're saying there, the table is very tight at the minute. So you have Ardrahan and Sarsfields, which is fixed for 2:15 in Dublin Park. It's actually scheduled to be the game on TG Carr over the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens there. And then, as I mentioned, you obviously have Castlegar and Cromwell. It's winner takes all. So whoever wins these 2 games goes through, and then it'll kind of come down to goal difference between the other 2 teams that are left that are defeated at the weekend. And then if draws happen, it'll just pretty much be stay as we are. But just to look at the game that's going to be on TG Carr on Sunday, if it goes ahead, 2:15 Sunday, Dublin Park, Sarsfields, Ardrahan. Just alone, sir, when you're looking at this game, you're thinking it's going to be probably the most physical game over the weekend.
Yeah, well, Johnny Glynn should be back for Ardrahan. Is a big force, man. You have Yuri Tannin up there, you have Kindy up there. And what I like with the Ardrahan team at the moment, you have what they call Peanut Fahy playing centre back rather up in the forward. Like he's bringing a solidarity to the backs, and then they're young Positive is one wing. You have the Welsh there around. They're playing good hurling, Ardrahan, and they're not that they're not easy push around, but they're good. The Fahys and the young lad coming on, they're all playing well. Now the draw they got out of jail the last day with the draw with Crowell. Sarsfields have to win in the sense that Ardrahan are on 3 points. Like that gives them a great, kind of a boost. Like, it was as good. The draw was as good as a win in a sense. Sarsfields were very disappointed the last day the way they played, against Castlegar. Castlegar stood up with a sweeper, and like they played the sweeper with the breeze and against it. Like they didn't change, and they kind of stayed in the game and kind of forced, like clawed their way in and kind of hung in, and then eventually won. Sarsfields will probably shake up their team a bit. They might like to have a lot of very good hurlers, like, and I have a feeling that they'll shift around the team. They might even show up the likes of Joseph Cooney centre forward. Maybe they play the likes of say John Cooney centre back. You wouldn't know. Definitely, I'd say Darren Morrissey be in the middle somewhere. Let him be fuller centre. Like, he's a county player. He's good enough to play in the middle. You'd imagine a club team. Like Kevin Cooney. These guys, Darren Murphy. These guys are capable of turning it on. It's fixed for Bandit Slow. That to me would give Sarsfield a little bit of an advantage in the sense that Paul, that they know Bandit Slow well. They used to play. Ardrahan don't play that many matches in Bandit Slow, and Ardrahan are kind of the new team on the block now. They're in great fettle. Still, Dolan has them flying. They're really, I see Sean Dial up there from Bodike as well. Like, they're really kind of going well. But Sarsfield will be hurting after the last day. I just have the feeling like. Knowing that they need to win, if they lose, like Sarsfields are back where they were last year, like a lot was like they're back in relegation. Really, they're too good. They're too good a team for that. I just expect them to get through when the chips are down. Really.
But the other game then obviously involves Cashel and Cromwell. You mentioned there's a bit of fire in the belly with Cashel this year, Kevin. Is that where you see them having too much for Cromwell?
If comes down to free taking, you know, it'll be left to Farrer. You know, at 40 years of age, he's still doing it for them. But, you know, even Dean Higgins had a good game for them the last day, very quiet all year. Had a good game wing back, hurled well. Oisin Connolly started to hurl well. You know, young Greg Thomas and the brother hurling well. Like Cyril hit the nail on the head there. You know, they hung in the game and they play a sweeper. I don't like playing sweepers. It worked for them the last day. They played with the wind and against the wind with it. And they got the win in the end. I just think that they'll have a small bit too much for Crowell. You know, Crowell won't fear Cashilgar whatsoever. And they'll really, really go after them. But I think, you know, I think it'll be a happy camp in where Cashilgar at the moment now, you know, after beating Sarsfields, who probably were people's favourites to top the group, and knowing that you're into preliminary quarter-final if you beat Crowell, you know, I'd like to be in there. It'll be a good dressing room this week now.
Yeah, so as we said there, we're kind of uncertain whether those games are going to go ahead or not, but they're fixed anyways for Sunday at 2:15. Just having a look at the Senior B, obviously we're recording this on Thursday evening. Mullia and Athenry is on at 7:30. It's Sir, for you, is it hard to believe Athenry are in this position?
Yeah, they're very lucky though, Paul, because Keane Burke got sent off there in one of the matches and he wasn't available for the last match. So to me, he's a county player really. Like he has that class and he has that ability to do that. So he'd have been a big lot. So now they're in a position like playing Mullia, which is a kind of a rubber game really. It's even Athenry
Mullia in the semis and Athenry.
Yeah, Mullia in the semis. Even talking to some of them though, Mullia have a B team and they're playing the weekend, so they might have been thinking of trying out a few fellas, but now they can't. So because if they do, they're gone off after junior B team, so they're going to have to just play we call them the senior fellas, the regular guys, the 15 or 16. But you know, they're going well. Young Dolphin is a big fight from the last year. County Minor playing very well up front. Cadlan's playing up front, and you still have the two Dillons, and you have Dervin as well. These guys are experienced, like, and they're more than got. They're a good championship team. They're like in the league, they mightn't show up at all, if you know what I mean. They won't play that, but in the championship, they're hard to beat. And I'm looking forward to maybe a match later on in the year when they like them themselves, and then maybe Escarfone and these have to meet again, or Lee Mellows. That to me would be a dinger. If Mullia had to play Lee Mellows again or a Escarfone, that's a match I'd love to see.
Yeah, and even with a Haskra and Mellows, the only thing really at stake for those teams at the weekend, Kevin, Haskra and Mellows are both into both into quarterfinals. With that, it's just whoever wins gets maybe a slightly easier draw, but I don't think it matters a whole lot. But for Haskra and Mellows, like to be looking to get a victory to build on performances.
Yeah, I don't think any management team is going to send out a weaker team, regardless of whether they're through or not. I know if I was involved with a team, I'd be putting out my strongest 15, bar any guy that has any niggles or anything. But any guy that's been training all year wants to play, wants to hurl championship, you know, wants to feel the pace of it, because you can play, Cyril hit it earlier on, like you can play as many league games and challenge matches as you want, but there's nothing like championship. Regardless whether it's a group game or knockout, you know, it just takes more intensity out of you. It brings up your fitness levels an extra few percent and sharpens the mind and the hurling. So I don't think it'll be anybody giving any free passes the next day.
Yeah, with that, so it's Bully and Athenry this evening, and we're saying 7:30 Dublin Park, and then Sunday at 3 Haskra Mellows. How do you see it going, Kevin?
I think Mellows will win, and I think Mullia will win.
In the other group then, sir, let's Killadima looks set. They're top of the table, 4 points for a semi-final. You would expect that they're going to get their place into the semi-final, but then for the other three teams, any of them can still find themselves in relegation. So you have Clymer Daly and Port Pierces Saturday at 4 o'clock in Lochray, and then Kilnadima and Bear Dublin Park Saturday at 4. For the other three teams, it's just must win, because they any of those three teams between Clymer, Port Pierces and Bear can find themselves in a relegation final with Athenry.
Yeah, well, you see, Bear are the great survivors, because like their numbers would be kind of down as well. Now they have great young lads coming. Like, you know, give it a few years, they'll have as good as anyone. But at the moment, like, they're stuck. You know, there's older lads like Joe Ganty still one of the leaders there, like, you know, the whole time. Leitrim Killindean have a lovely team. Baxter and Broome, they have lovely forwards, like, you know, Kenny, Egan, the Malays, these guys, they're natural forward, very good on the ball and good touch. The toughest match probably of the weekend, Paul, the toughest match will be between Pearses and Collimer. Both have to win, both the same styles. So Collimer missing the likes of, you know, Jack O'Mara, young Hanny is gone as well, I believe. Like, they're big losses. But neither team, you know, both of them won't go down without, like, when I say down without a fight, this is a very, very big game for both teams. Like, and it's a toss of a coin. I suppose the injuries for Collimer are fairly colossal, really, because when they were winning, when they won their championship, like, these guys are standing out for them. Like, and then more than any other club, when the top 2 or 3 lads are injured, in trouble. But this will be a dogfight. I don't know how this is going to go. Like, the referee, I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, he's going to have to be on his toes, because this will be, you know, winner takes all. It'll be fierce. It'll be determined. Like, it's to suit the likes of Brady there, of his holding that kind of a game where everything will be flying.
Would you like to be out in that, Kevin?
He'd love it.
Sorry there, Shocks. There's a helicopter flying over. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, Sarah was just saying you'd love to be out in a kind of battle this weekend. Would you still like to be out there?
Oh, love the battle, sure. Hey, that's what we played for all our lives, and just loved it. I used to always say it, there's no feeling like waking up on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning of championship weekend. You just know it's a different animal, you know. You'd be like a dog around the house before the game.
Did you have any set routine, Kevin?
Sorry?
Did you have any set routine before the game?
I'd always have my gear packed the night before. I'd always have my 3 hurdles left aside. I was just one of these guys that was meticulous about the way I packed my gear. I check it twice, and that was me. I just knew what I had to do then. I could be like a dog in the dressing room, or I could be wired to the moon. It all depended. But I knew the second I was leaving the house, you know, it was war. That's the way I like to look at it.
Do you have any pre-match rituals, sir?
Yeah, well, like when it was playing as well, it wasn't as, you know, it wasn't as fast as it is now. Yeah, you'd have your gear, like, you know, and you'd have your hurdle, but you'd, like, you know, I'd love to be there in time, you know, like, when you be over a team now, it's kind of different. Even the big games in Crow Park, the worst bit I used to find was leaving the hotel on the boat with the lads and going down Jones Road, and all the crowd would say the crowd putting their thumbs up, and we'd just say we're playing Tipper Kilkenny, they'd be kind of booing, you're down there, and be saying to yourself, why the hell am I on the outside, kind of walking down to enjoy the game, because you're kind of, as Kevin says, you're going into war. But once you get into the dressing room, once the ball is thrown in, there's no problem with the game. It's just the kind of that hour, half hour before, that's where I'd be kind of edgy. But once the game is on, fine, you know.
Can you relax then?
I'd be fine. Like, I'd be, well, when I say relaxed, I'd be watching the game. I wouldn't need anyone telling me stats or anything. I would have to be working the whole time, like, and you'd be able to read it yourself. Like, as Brian Foley'd say, if you have to have a lad telling you stats, he said, you know, you shouldn't be on the line. You know? Now, you'd read it yourself. Like it's easy. It isn't rocket science, like, you know. So yeah, you can make it out to be rocket science, but the more complicated you make it, the harder it is for the lads. It's still a very simple game. There's only one stat that counts, Paul, and that's the scoreboard. Forget about the rest of them.
Do you feel like stats is becoming too much of a focus in her?
No, well, it's the in thing now. It's a lad might have 3 blocks and 4 hooks and that, like, but you know, it's all about getting the ball. You'd often say college game, especially, you'd have a dad telling you, well, the wing forward is going okay. He blocked 3 times and he hooked twice, and I would say that meant that wing back had it 5 times. Well, where's the scores he got? What ball did he hit? You know what I mean? It depends on the way you read them. It's like accountants. You can fool yourself with stats, like, you know, like you should be able to look at most fellas on the line. They use them all right, but like they're okay on a Tuesday night after the game. But I would find during the game, like, you know, half time, maybe you'd have 2 or 3 things in your head to say to them. If you tell them too many things, they won't do it either. Like, it's just to get it clear in their heads and get them hurling the way you want them to hurl. But like, you're not showing the lad how to hurl. Like, he should be able to hurl coming into you. Maybe you're showing him how game plan, and you're trying to get him how to win. That's the big thing, and have that will to win, and keep fight on your backs until the final whistle goes.
How would you rate them, Kevin?
Pros and cons, to be honest, and that's not a hairy, scary answer. Shocks. I don't like them. I don't like the hooks in their back for the old the sat nav, I'll call them. You know, I can't stand them, to be honest, because we used to have them, you know, when I was coming to the end, and You know, you're going in the Tuesday night and to put it up on the screen to tell you where you should have been, where you shouldn't have been, and like no one knew better than myself if I had a bad game. You know, and I'd go through every ball. I'd be disgusted with myself. You know, whether it be hurling or football, and you know, I suppose it's accountability to the team really is why they're doing it now. You know, I suppose Limerick brought it to a new level with Connacht and them, but I wouldn't be a huge fan of it. I think it's taken the game to another level, Shocks, and Cyril hit the nail on the head. You know, it's common sense. Keep it simple. You know, score more than your opponent, and have your team absolutely flying fit, and have their stick work right. The rest is, you know, shinny.
Just with that, we'll just have a look now at the intermediate games over the weekend. Kevin, it's safe to say things are going very well in Ceylon at the minute.
Yeah, going very well. I was in at the first game against Down. They were lucky to get out of it. Took about 55 minutes for them to get going and ended up winning it. Sean You'd won the game for them. You know, there was a huge tragedy in Carnmore. Maybe their eye was off the ball a bit. But I was in at that game as well. Geez, Ceylon were awesome. They were excellent. You know, it's 4-16 they scored, I think, to 2-19. Really, really, John Igo in at full forward will be a renowned half back. They're going very, very well. Now, they're playing Turlock in their last game. Now, Turlock scored 21 scores against Down, and Down scored 218. So they'd have to be very careful with this one now, even though they're out of the group, I think. But, you know, you still want to be topping it. These are young guys coming through. They want to be winning every game. They have to be careful now and treat Turlock with respect, because there'll be a lot of these guys wanting to break into the Turlock senior team and pressing Shocks, you know.
Can Ceylon win the intermediate championship, Kevin?
They can. I don't think they will. I'd love, I wouldn't say I'd love, but I prefer if they didn't, if that makes sense, because it's an awful step up. You know, would they survive with the likes of Athenry or Muller or Mellows? No, they wouldn't. That takes time. That takes time. They have a lot of young guys there, 18, 19, 20. If they can hang around the quarterfinals, semi-finals, final, maybe not finals because that demoralizes the team being beaten. If they can hang around there for another 2 to 3 years, get these guys up to 22, 23, get a bit of steel about them, physically develop, you know, I think they'll have a right cut at it then. But I just think that Tina, you know, with Matty Kenny back this year, I think it's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
With that Ceylon are obviously the team in that Group 1, and they're playing Turlock in Tuam Stadium at Sunday at 12. So for Turlock to kind of rescue and get back into the championship, they're going to need for either Down or Carmore to probably hand out a pace into one, and that's a game, sir, that you probably feel is going to be fairly tight. It's one of these games like the Senior B. It's looking like at the moment Down Carmore will be tight, and both of them will go through to the preliminaries. And it's just about whichever one wins might get the kind of easier draw in that preliminary quarterfinal.
Yeah, both are in a good position. Like, you know, I thought Carnmore would be pushing on. I saw them playing a few years ago, minor, and that, like, they had a lot of lads coming through, and like they're kind of bursting the seams of hurlers, and the Down can be very good. Again, if the footballers were kind of knocked out, like it helped them probably, like, you know, if it's a kind of caught between two stools there. But looking on the games that I've seen, I suppose Teen Abbott and Irish seem to be that bit ahead. They have everyone back this year. Paul Killian is back, and you have Breheny playing very, very well. The Maloney's are back, like Shane and Niall Maloney. These guys are all, Johnny Conrad, they're good. They probably shouldn't be an intermediate. But also very impressive, Paul, is our Aircourt. Every year they're threatening without doing it. But this, you know, there's a little bit difference. They're putting up big scores. Not as much talk about them, but, like, you know, they're going to be thereabouts. And a team that I thought would be doing better would be Ballindereen. Signed the 2 years ago or three, like, we played them in a league match and they impressed me. You know, they've gone back a bit since, but they have good hurlers. Like, and they got caught by Kinvara, you know, on a wheeling, kind of, you know, had a tour de force against them. But that had to be a local derby. But to me, the top two, like, if I know the draws have yet to come around, but if they avoid one another, you could see the likes of Teen Abbott and playing Aircourt, I would think, in the final once you get down the road.
Yeah, just with that, since you mentioned Aircourt there, sir, just in Group 3, obviously there's probably uncertainty now where the Cromwell and Ballygare, that's fixed for Saturday at 4. But whoever wins that goes into preliminary quarterfinal. and whoever loses finds himself in a relegation battle. But the game at the weekend, Abbey or Meath Aircourt, is basically a winner takes all. Whoever wins goes straight into the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and it's funny, like they'll both want to win. When you go straight in, you might get another game the other way, but you could find, Paul, that the losing team could learn more than the winning team. Now, that doesn't mean, as Kevin says, there's no one going to go out to lose. Like, the boys in Abbey, they're always very hard to beat. And the Flahertys have great experience down there, but so of Aircourt. There might be a little bit more balance. You'd imagine Aircourt would be that little bit better, should win, but this will be a tough battle. But even Aircourt losing or Abbey losing, I think they'll learn a lot from it. They're strong. Both of them are strong, and they could be kind of just challenging the top teams. But like, Aircourt have been around a good while more than Abbey, but Aircourt have been threatened without doing it. And if they have everyone fit, they'll be very hard to beat.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, that Abbey Meath game is Sunday at 4:30. It's probably the pick of the games really to look forward to over the weekend. Just in Group 4 then, Kevin, at the weekend, we'll go back to Group 2 then. Ballindereen are playing Teen Abbotsford in Gort on Saturday at 3, and Kinvara are playing Spiddle in Carramore, and that game Saturday at 3. Just with that, you'd be expecting Tina to probably have another victory here over Ballindereen, and then it's just kind of looking like in that group it's going to be a toss of a coin between whether it's Kinvara or Ballindereen to finish with second or third, and kind of similar to Down, Carramore, that kind of situation.
Yeah, Tina are good enough to be up senior, but being good enough and getting up there is a totally different ballgame. One bad game can really upset your whole year. We played golf there last week in Galway Bay, and I was hurling with Finnerty and a few of them, and Matty Kinney was across from us, and one of the lads were saying they're absolutely flying up there. They're doing everything that they're asked. It's a real professional setup up there, and you can imagine, with Matty up there like that, because Killeen is flying again at the moment, and Breheny, and I think they're a team that I can't see them being beaten in intermediate. I really can't. I know Ballindereen were coming, but it's a huge game for them now. If they get hockeyed here, it's going to set them back. Kinvara and Spiddle, you'd be expecting Kinvara to beat Spiddle, to be honest with you. Spiddle are still in the football championship as well. Kinvara, O'Connor Whelan, a few more of these guys, they should be able to dispose handy enough of Spiddle.
Yeah, you would expect the results to be like that in Group 4. Just in Group 2 then, you have Kilbeaconty and Rahoon in Crowell on Saturday at 4, and Kiltormer, Cambridge, New Inn, Saturday at 4. Do you think this is a game Kilbeaconty now will be targeted? Certainly, they're obviously coming up against table toppers Rahoon, but
yeah, Rahoon will be. The last few years, Paul, Rahoon have doing very well and have been at the knockout stages thereabouts, and they have a nice under-20 team there going. They get a few off it as well. They'll be hard to beat. Kilbeaconty will be like ourselves, like here in Larkins, like their numbers will be very tight. Now they have good young lads coming, but they're not up to that level yet. Like they're very, very young. I suppose on form you'd be expecting Rahoon to get through on that one. And the other one was which what was the other one?
Kiltormer, Cambridge. So what you have is Cambridge second at the minute.
Yeah,
Kiltormer bottom.
Yeah, well, Kiltormer getting it hard to win. It just shows you what can happen. The top team, kind of fighting, say, at that level now at the moment, getting it very hard to get a win. Whereas before, they'd always win. They're due a win. That's the only thing. You'd imagine. It's going to be tough, but maybe I haven't seen them lately. They're the one team I haven't seen, but knowing their background, they'd have a great tradition. So maybe they'll get a victory on the weekend.
Just before we do finish as well, lads, just on the Galway under-20 hurling, the managers, I suppose, would be put forward. You had Gavin Keary, Fergal Healy, Cathal Murray. Just some of the names that are put forward. Who do you see getting the job, Kevin?
I'd love to see Gavin Carey get it, especially with his experience. He's in with Loughrea for his second year. He was down with Maloney and the lads down in Clare coaching a couple of years ago, and I know a few of the Clare lads, and they were delighted at his coaching strategy. And I like Friday, we call him. I like Gavin. good hurler, great club man, but he's a very, very smart guy, very, very good coach. Fergal Healy as well, top class. Cathal Murray. Listen, there's cases for all of them, you know. But I would like to see Gavin get it. I think he's due a crack at it. I could see him potentially be a Galway senior manager down the line. That's where I'd look at him. I'd hold him now as high as a lot of county coaches.
Yeah, there's obviously Colin Callahan too. He's there just for
Yeah, well, absolutely. Like he was in with the Galway senior setup as well. Like I said, there's cases for all of them. But like I was only thinking the other day, we're on about it at work, and the guys, the 4 or 5 candidates came out and they said, one of the lads said, would they not all get together? Like when you look at it like that, like all of these guys would be friends and would have hurled with each other and against each other. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You know, they all have credentials, but you know, the committee will pick their own thing. But
Kevin, what you've suggested there, though, it makes sense, because if you're thinking down the road, which you'd have to be the 20 set up for senior eventually, they would make, like, it's one thing given, say, when you give a lad a manager, say, a senior job, he needs a strong management team with him. Now, you put these guys together, and
100%, yeah.
Put them coaches or men, whatever we want to call them, give them fancy titles or no title. To me, it would be a very, very strong ticket. But they'd have to win, say, an under 21 or 2, and then go up senior whenever. But like, we need something strong. It isn't just one. We need a strong management team coming through, and it's a thing I hope the board are looking at. Like, you know, no, I don't know. Fergal Healy's name was mentioned there as well. He's another very top coach. But I don't know what's he going for. I don't know what things are there. But I would love to see all these as maybe pooled together, like, you know, because they're all very, very good lads. Like, and you know, someone has to be manager, and like, you could have 2 or 3 coaches. The way it's going now, sure, you could have many coaches. You nearly have to have a second bus for all the coaching, for all the. But I still think down the road, we need to win an under 20 or 1 or 2 at least, and that management team then, if it's strong enough to go in to take over senior when the time comes, because it isn't just one leg going over senior. You need a strong management team, and we need to have someone ready for it really. And as you say, all these boys are very experienced, which is great. Like,
who even knows if any of these could be added even to the senior backroom team, if Go Air freshening things up this year as well. But yeah, they're the 4 names that are nominated for the under 20, so it'll be interesting to see who eventually get it. But like, there's a case for every nomination there, as Kevin was saying. But that's all in our podcast for this week. Huge games to look forward to. For a lot of clubs, it's about avoiding relegation and getting into that knockout stage. But you can follow the action on the Galway GA streaming service, as well as on Galway FM Live on the radio too. And keep an eye on our social media accounts as well. We'll keep people updated over the weekend. But that's all we have time for today.